stretch here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Andretti Autosport teammates on the front row. Pato O'Ward to the inside. Yesterday's winner, Colton Herta, to the outside. Green flag is out. Herta immediately ducks behind Pato O'Ward. They'll fan out 3, make it 4 wide. Michael Young for second.
Boy, a big battle coming down into turn number 1. Pato O'Ward, Santiarrutia on the outside, but the big mover, Victor Franzoni, as Pato O'Ward swings wide, the rest of the field follows suit. Now Santiarrutia all over the rear wing of Pato O'Ward wants that first position. So Santiarrutia, big mover yesterday, trying to be a big mover today. The field completely through turns 5 and 6 on their way down Holman Boulevard.
Urrutia lost pace in the more technical portions of the racetrack. He's falling back about 6 or 7 car lengths, and now suddenly he's firmly in the grasp of his teammate. That's the 9 car of Aaron Thielens. Everybody bunches up behind the leader. Pato O'Ward starts to pull away. For now, Urrutia is able to hold off Aaron Thielens into turn number 9.
Colton Herta not only lost pace, he lost placement, dropped a couple of spots. He runs in 4th right now. Pato O'Ward has about a 10 car length advantage over Santiarrutia. Then behind him, it's Aaron Thielens, as Mark had mentioned. Colton Herta is going to try to close in on Thielens in that 13-14 combo, but not able to do so. Pato O'Ward with that green and white machine takes it now on a turn number 14.
Really nice, clean start here on the opening lap at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pato O'Ward's lead about 6 or 7 car lengths over Santiarrutia. Best battle, Michael, looks like it's for 3rd between Thielens and Herta.
Well, Colton Herta likes dropping back and then battling his way back through. Said he had a blast yesterday, and he's going to try it today. Down into turn number 1, pile drives into the side of Aaron Thielens. Colton Herta, Aaron Thielens collide, nearly collide again at the exit of turn number 1. Colton okay, Thielens okay, but near disaster for both of those drivers as they now wiggle their way through turns 5 and 6. Still about a 3 car length advantage as Santiarrutia closes in on Pato O'Ward.
Thielens not okay in terms of track position. He falls to the rear of the field. Meanwhile, the pass for position. It's the pass for the lead into turn number 7, and Urrutia is going to grab the spot from Pato O'Ward. O'Ward tries to come back. They go nose to tail through that 7-8-9 switchback. Jake Query, a new leader to you this time.
Santiarrutia went to the bottom side of Pato O'Ward to get that lead. Now he starts to extend it, exiting turn number 11. As a matter of fact, he has himself about a 15-yard advantage. A little bit further back now, all of a sudden, getting very, very racy. That's Aaron Thielens trying to make up some ground on Dalton Kellett, but he had fallen, Nick, well back because of that incident Michael described.
Boy, the first lap was incredibly clean, and then the second lap, absolute chaos. But it's now Santiarrutia who will lead lap number 2 across the yard of bricks. Michael Young, the distance is 6 car lengths.
Boy, he's gapped it. He certainly got around Pato O'Ward, which we didn't really expect, although he had a great run coming out of turn number 6. Able to keep it about a 6 car length gap. 3rd place now is Victor Franzoni as Dalton Kellett misses turn number 1. He outbrakes and now goes through the grass and rejoins at the back of the field. So for Santiarrutia back to the front, now a 10 car length advantage over Pato O'Ward.
I think that move by Kellett was brought on by the aggressive move by Aaron Thielens. He's trying to work his way back into contention. He's got a lot of work to do. Might have spooked Kellett a little bit as they set up for turn number 1. Thielens trying to get back in contention here on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Meanwhile, the leader comes off of turn number 8, setting up for the right-hander that is turn 9.
Good observation, Mark, because it appeared as though Dalton Kellett fell victim to the exact same thing that caused Thielens to fall back in the first place, and that was getting that little bit spooked, missing the runoff area, falling back as a result of it. The leader is Santiarrutia. He has a comfortable advantage over Pato O'Ward. It's the same as last time by. Victor Franzoni trying to keep that number 2 machine of O'Ward in sight.
Boy, a lot to clean up there, Parker Thompson. We'll start with that move by Colton Herta to the inside of Aaron Thielens. It's tight in turn 1. We talked about it. It seemed like both of those drivers fighting for the same real estate.
They were, Nick. But you know what? If I was Aaron Thielens, you know, you would have saw him in the mirrors coming down the inside, and he closed off a little bit. It's a racing incident. I won't put fault at anyone, but they both drove into each other. It's unfortunate. They fell back, but Indianapolis, you're going to see people come back. I think as tire wear and tire deg starts to play, and we see who's got full aero and who doesn't have aero, that's going to be a big part of it. Let's see what these drivers can do.
And then Dave First, meanwhile, after a really quick and fast first lap for Pato O'Ward, it looks like he had distanced himself from Santiarrutia. All of a sudden on that second lap, the driver from Uruguay made a strong charge.
Well, I think the storyline right now is we have breaking news. Indy Lights is putting on a great show at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, be it the Freedom 100 or here in the Grand Prix. But the job what Pato O'Ward has done. I think he's learned a lot just from yesterday in the race he had yesterday, but he's hanging in there, although he's getting a little pressure now in this battle for second.
And Parker, you're getting a good look at a replay of that pass down into turn 7. That's one of the best passing points on this track, right?
It really is, but it is very difficult. You look at how tight that turn is, and the job that Santiago did there. He pulled Pato over to the right to go down the inside. That was fantastic. A lot of drivers you'll see just ride that white line, and really you can't go around the outside there, so great job by Santi.
The lead for Santi Urrutia at the start-finish line is 0.8 of a second, Michael Young, as they barreled to turn 1.
Visibly about the same as Pato O'Ward breaks a little bit later. Last time through, Santi Urrutia had the back end nearly step out on him. He was really hustling it through the exit of turn number 1, cleanly through this time by. We'll see if Pato O'Ward can make up any ground. Had those issues with the car yesterday, was never really able to make up any ground, and now loses about another 3 car lengths to Santi Urrutia.
But I think he'll close again down this Holman Boulevard straightaway. He has the last couple of times, in fact. Franzoni is the one that's going to have some company very, very soon, as young Mr. Herta appears to be getting his mount underneath him a little bit in a quest for that 3rd spot. So a pretty good 2x2 battle, Jake Query, as they head to the east side of the Hall of Fame and Museum.
Oftentimes it is talked about the wind in the south end of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It can kind of circulate and get caught on the track right now. They see that wind coming at them as they work their way through turn number 11, and right now Urrutia tries to go through it, does so with about a 10 car length advantage before you get to O'Ward. And then, as you talked about, Mark, pretty good gap back before that second twosome, but Nick, nobody able to make up any ground that time by.
Yeah, certainly best battle for the race on the racetrack right now. Looks like it's for 3rd. Victor Franzoni, slim margin, Michael Young, as they all head down the front straightaway towards you and 1.
Yeah, that was a good move by Victor Franzoni on the start. We saw him go wide, was able to get that 3rd position after that skirmish that we had between Thielitz and Colton Herta. So Franzoni with about a 4 car length advantage. That is the battle for 3rd between he and Colton Herta. Now through turns 5 and 6 go our leader Santi Urrutia. Pato O'Ward again, that car length distance about 12.
Franzoni looking for a better result than yesterday. Just didn't have the pace and can do no better than 6th. Herta is slowly but surely shaving down that margin a little bit. Turn number 7, not quite nose to tail, about a 3 car length advantage as they wind to the right, then back to the left. Now they'll climb on the binders and aim it toward the short chute of the south end of the racetrack.
We'll take a look at that battle again. This is Colton Herta trying to close in on the 3rd place machine of Victor Franzoni, and Herta, in doing so, gets a pretty good run on him heading into turn number 12. Franzoni makes that right-hander, and in doing so, gets that separation once again. But then when they go through 13, it appears as though, Nick, Herta's able to close up just a little bit when they go through curbing.
This race is 5 laps longer than yesterday's event, where Colton Herta in 30 laps went from 6th all the way to the lead. Michael Young, he's going to need that time, but he is all over the back of Franzoni.
And he makes his move down into turn number 1, forces Franzoni wide. Colton Herta takes him all the way to the curbing, gets around Franzoni for 3rd, move Colton Herta up to that 3rd position. Now he works his way through turn number 4, trying to gap that distance, but a great move by Colton Herta as he took him down to the inside. Colton Herta now 3rd.
5 more laps, and that may just be all that Aaron Thielitz needs to get himself back on the podium in this race. An issue earlier dropped him to the rear of the field, and now I think it's just a matter of time before Victor Franzoni starts to see that car of Aaron Thielitz in the rearview mirror. Jake, he's noticeably closer off of turn number 9.
Yeah, and Thielitz is becoming aggressive, as you talked about. I think he realizes there's just not a whole lot of margin for error here. But Nick, what becomes interesting, to Mark's point, if Thielitz wants to get aggressive through the field with those 5 extra laps, how are those Cooper tires going to hold up? One would think that trying to perhaps preserve those and make sure you have some grip in the latter part of this race is going to become something that becomes very, very key.
Parker Thompson, you run on those Cooper tires in Pro Mazda. Cooper does a fantastic job. We rarely ever see any tire failures, but that is something that you as a driver have to manage in any series of managing those tires for these longer races.
Well, you nailed it on the head, Nick. Cooper tires are fantastic, and most racetracks we go to, they stay under us really well, but you've got to have a good handling race car. And the balance here at Indianapolis is really tricky. You can see the cars wiggling around. I mean, they call it Indy Lights, but these cars are a handful. Even the Pro Mazdas around here are really tough to manage the tires and keep the rear under you. So it's going to be really interesting to see how things play out. You know, I I say that aero is going to play a huge part of it, just because if they're running light aero, it's maybe going to be good now, but towards the end of the race, that might not be the case. And we saw Colton Herta yesterday make a late race charge, and just like today, we also saw yesterday Santi move out of the way really quick, get out of the draft. He's off to an early lead, but we'll see how that plays out towards the end.
Certainly it's impossible for us to know without being down and looking at those race cars and how, talking to the engineers and how they set these things up, of knowing what the driver prefers, of how they had these cars set up for this race specifically. But based on Colton Herta's pass, making it down the front straightaway, what does it tell you about maybe where they were leaning with the setup of that car?
I think Andretti's are running pretty light if I had to put my money on it. We saw yesterday, you know, they might not be the quickest early, which indicates they might not have the aero on the cold tires to get their tires up to temp. But man, they make late race charges, and you see Pato, he's hanging in there. I don't think Santi's laying back. He's got to charge if he wants to keep his lead.
Yeah, Pato Award in that red, white, and green car for Andretti Autosport, bearing down on the rear wing of our leader, Santiago Urrutia. They make their way through the switchback, Mark Janes. That battle for the lead shaping up once again.
Deep run into turn number 1 allowed Pato Award to really close the gap. Essentially stuck right in the tire tracks, and again, it appears as though he brakes a little bit later than Santi, and they're nose to tail at the exit to turn number 7. They stay that way as they attack the curving to the inside of the racetrack. They'll attack the curving again as they exit turn number 9 and head toward turn 10.
It looked like Urrutia went just a little bit wider that time by, and Award tried to keep it down more towards the bottom of the racetrack. He couldn't make up any ground. Now he makes up a little bit. That right-hander that's turn number 12. Award has about a 4-car length disadvantage to try to make up. There are some portions of this track that it gets a little bit bumpy here on the south end, but if that's the case and it disrupted Urrutia, Award was not able to take advantage.
Previous lap, it was down the front straightaway where Pato Award really made the charge. Michael Young, can he get any closer into turn 1?
Boy, yesterday Urrutia was great in the turns. Looks like he's going to be that way again today, but Pato has him coming down that front straightaway, closes into about 2 car lengths, but unlike the last time by, really didn't make I guess his presence known would be the best way to describe it, although Pato Award a lot closer this time than he was last time, but Santiago Urrutia really makes a great jump out of turn number 6. He's gapped at about 8 car lengths, Mark James.
Franzoni has all but lost third place running Colton Herta, but Herta's in no danger of catching the front 2. This time by, Urrutia has a little wider gap going into turn number 7, so it's about 2 car lengths now as they snake their way through 8 and 9. Thielens again inches ever closer to Franzoni as they exit turn number 8.
And up front, Urrutia is holding on with Award right there, and that gap looks visibly closer than last time by. Award really closing in now on Santi Urrutia in through turn number 12. Urrutia takes that 13-14 combo to get himself some breathing room, but Pato Award is really starting to reel him in.
Through the right-hander of turn number 14, they will complete lap number 10, 25 to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it is a fantastic battle for the lead between the top 2 in the championship. Santi Urrutia and Pato Award into turn 1.
And if yesterday is any indication of what we'll see today, I expect Colton Herta will start knocking on the door within about 10 laps. He's closed that gap between second place Pato Award and himself and Santiago Urrutia, about an 8-car length gap again. He really looks strong, Mark James, Urrutia does. When he leaves turn number 6, he'll gap about 3 car lengths down Holman Boulevard.
Yeah, Award had a really strong run down the straightaway last time. Urrutia gets a better run down Holman Boulevard. Again, he breaks just a little bit later. Both hold the race car firmly through turns 7 and 8. It's about a 3-car length advantage now with the exit of turn number 9.
It was a really good observation, I think, from Michael, in the fact that when you get into those curving areas, all of a sudden that's where it seems as though the gap starts to shrink just a little bit. But to Urrutia now, Pato Award is right there, but Urrutia seems to have the horsepower, especially on the straight, to be able to get himself that breathing room. Then they just kind of rubber band each other through that 12, 13, 14 combo. They get ready to complete another lap.
Yeah, both of those drivers hustling those cars around the racetrack, but as of right now, Pato Award just doesn't look like he is close enough to challenge Santi Urrutia for the lead. They make their way down the front straightaway once again, and as they set up for turn number 1, Award's going to get hard on the brakes, close to within about a car length but not able to make a move. Let's hear from one of the drivers who I know Ryan Marine's got to be awful fired up because he's not jumping in a Verizon Indy car last second to compete in the Indianapolis 500. James Davison standing by with you on pit lane.
Yeah, you said it, Nick. Actually, some lead time for James Davison this year in preparation for the Indianapolis 500. Not too much longer, and you'll be attempting to qualify for the race once again in an entry that's fielded by A.J. Foyt with a little help from Brian Velarde and also Jonathan Bird. A lot to keep in mind, but I think you're focused probably on the race car. How excited are you to have a full month to get ready for the Indy 500 this time around?
Yeah, very. It's been a long time coming, getting some establishment in the Indy 500. The 3 times I've done it have really been by the skin of my teeth. The 11th hour, so yeah, we have a fantastic team put together with Velarde, Bird, Hollinger, and AJ Foyt's team, which have shown some great form, obviously, so far this year, and in particular at the test here a week or 2 ago. So yeah, it's an exciting time, and yeah, next Tuesday can't come soon enough.
What have you heard about the new aero kits that you'll be competing in for the first time?
Yeah, basically that the car sucks up a lot better than the older, but then it's tougher to follow in the corner, so obviously I'll have to get a feel for that myself. It's the same for everybody. You know, I guess just hope the weather's nice next week. It's probably bound to rain as it does every May, but look, obviously the team's started on the right foot. We're going to be able to bolt that setup on my car, and we should be, you know, right in the ballpark to begin with.
You're down here watching in the Velarde pit area here in this Indy Lights race. You're a former Indy Lights driver yourself. What do you think about this current crop of drivers?
Yeah, well, obviously there's a very small car count, but I think any experienced eye can see that there's a lot of talent within it. Absolutely, these guys look like they do well in IndyCar. So, yeah, I mean, when I ran Indy Lights, we had 28 cars in St. Pete in the Freedom 100. You know, I ran with Hinch, Hildebrand, Kimball, those guys back in 08, 09. And it's a great time, you know, when you're a young kid getting ready to move up to IndyCar and racing in front of, you know, Michael Andretti and some of the IndyCar team owners. It's a very exciting time of your career, as well as a stressful one. Obviously, it's tough trying to find budget. And, you know, it's a bit of make or break some of the races or some of the seasons that you have. But you know, it's all worth it in the end if you can work hard and get it done on and off the track and make it into IndyCar, or in particular the Indy 500. That's the aim. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see some of these guys in the Indy 500 soon.
We're happy that you're in the mix as well. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looking forward to chatting with you throughout the month.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Back to you, Nick.
Hey, Mark Janes, what a nice pass by Aaron Telitz just now in turn 7.
I had an idea a couple of laps ago that he was coming, and he pulled off the move with Victor Franzoni. Matter of fact, he almost passed him in front of Jake Query where they come back onto the road course in the south end, but Jake, he was able to get him in front of me last time by.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, he had to lock up the brakes a little bit going into 12 just before he was able to make the move. We'll see how that affects his tires later in the race. Now for Aaron Telitz, the challenge is trying to reel in that podium, but Nick Yeoman, he's got a pretty sizable gap before he can get to that third spot.
And meanwhile, Michael Young up front, that 2-horse race for the lead, it looks like it's starting to become a 3-horse battle.
Slowly but surely, Colton Herta has closed the gap to second place running Pato O'Ward as they enter turn number 1. Urrutia has O'Ward by about 8 car lengths, and what was a 14 car length gap as, wow, Victor Franzoni tried to get around Aaron Telitz, got into the grass, but tried to return the favor down here in turn number 1, but back to it. Colton Herta has now closed that gap to Pato O'Ward. It's about 8-9 car lengths, Mark James.
Yeah, the focus on Urrutia has changed to concern for Pato O'Ward for the machine of Colton Herta. Herta's right there about 6 car lengths behind, brakes a little later to close that gap, both back into the throttle quickly. So now, all of a sudden, things getting a bit more interesting in the battle for the podium, and Jake Query, you'll see just behind him, that battle between Telitz and Franzoni is far from over.
So to recap it right now, Urrutia is your leader, then it's O'Ward, and behind him, Colton Herta. But things getting very interesting, as Mark had mentioned, in that 4th place machine. and that is the fact that Aaron Telitz had cleared Franzoni, but Franzoni now wants it right back. And Ryan Norman has decided to get up there and try to watch both of those two with very, very good eyes.
Parker Thompson, what do you think about this? I mean, we've got two distinct battles between three cars. Best one right now is this incredible battle for Ford.
It is getting wicked. The racing is awesome here in Indy Lights right now. We had Aaron Telitz lick the stamp and send it on that pass. That was beautiful down the inside of Victor Franzoni. And Victor looks pretty frisky to get back in there. So we've got two great battles on track.
Yeah, Franzoni right now, the meat and the sandwich between Aaron Telitz, who runs in fourth, and Ryan Norman, who's coming on strong once again. Dave, first, we're kind of used to seeing this. Ryan Norman, once he gets a little footing underneath him, has shown some pace late in races.
Yeah, fifth yesterday and a fifth a couple of weeks ago in that first race at Barber Motorsports Park. Just keeping an eye on the top three. Santi Urrutia, Pato O'Ward, basically running the exact same lap times. Colton Herta consistently this afternoon running the fastest lap times. That's why he's within a second of Pato O'Ward.
15 laps in the books, 20 to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here's how they run. Santi Urrutia is your leader by 1.1 seconds over Pato O'Ward. Another 0.8 of a second back to yesterday's winner, Colton Herta. Aaron Telitz runs in the fourth spot. Victor Franzoni is fifth. Ryan Norman runs in sixth, and Dalton Kellett is seventh. As for the front three, we'll take a look back towards the front of the field. Michael Young, it's kind of stayed stable. I'd say 5 to 6 car lengths separating those three cars as they barrel off into turn one once again.
Yeah, equal distance between our leader and second place, and then second place to third. Colton Herta really breaks late this time through turn number one. Gets back on the accelerator as the back end of the machine of Pato O'Ward twitches ever so slightly, but that gap remains the same. Further back, the battle for fourth, fifth, and sixth. That's Aaron Telitz. Victor Franzoni, that's broken off a little bit as Ryan Norman has fallen off about 8 car lengths.
As we mentioned, just under 20 laps to go, so maybe it's a race pace time. Not to say that he won't take advantage of the opportunity if it comes, but maybe play it close to the vest for a handful of laps. So, Jake, it's interesting to note 2 3-car battles, and the separation between each group of 3 is about the same, but a pretty sizable gap from third back to fourth.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The front 3 have really separated themselves, and if you're Aaron Telitz, you've got to start thinking to yourself, man, what could have been had I not gotten caught up in that fray early on, because it's going to be a real challenge for him to try to get back that podium spot. Colton Herta, of course, trying to get that podium for the second straight day, has it locked down right now in the third position. The outlier in all of this would be Dalton Kellett, who is well back in the back of the field running at 7th.
You're listening to the Royal Purple Synthetic Oil Grand Prix of Indianapolis, supporting Lupus Foundation of America on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. My name is Nick Yeoman. These are the future stars of the Verizon IndyCar Series, and might have what I hope a future star for Indy Lights joining us here in the booth, Pro Mazda driver Parker Thompson for Exclusive Autosport. We teased it at the beginning of the show. You picked up a victory today. Tell us a little bit about your race today and your run from, you said 6th to 1st, correct?
Yes, Nick. It was a tough weekend for the Exclusive Autosport squad and myself. You know, we started off in qualifying. We had a 25-cent part fail on the car at no fault of Elite Engines or Exclusive Autosport, and unfortunately it cost us an engine. So that was qualifying 1. We qualified pretty well dead last. And then we only had an hour and a half to get the car completely turned around, which is usually a day's work for a crew. We've already got a small crew, but they busted their butts off. My hat is off to Elite Engines as well, the series supplier of our Mazda power plant. They got us. They have these nice white shirts, Steve and Logan Knapp, and they've got these nice slacks. I tell you what, they got on their hands and knees to help us get our motor in for qualifying 2. We put it on the grid 6th. We didn't even have time to align the car, do anything. We just got it out for qualifying, came out with 6th. And then, you know what, I'm just so thankful to get a win for that crew this weekend. It was awesome charging through the pack, coming from 6th to 1st. It's great. And to win at the racing capital of the world is unbelievable.
Yeah, how big is that? Because we make so much about the Indianapolis 500, but for you guys to get an opportunity, and the drivers in Indy Lights and USF 2000, to compete at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I'm sure that's something you tell folks back home about what you get a chance to do.
For sure. I think this is the most well-known circuit on our calendar to be here at IMS. There's just so much history for any driver. No matter where you are in the world, you know Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I can tell you, with all the fans here today up on the hills and in the grandstands, it was really special to get a win.
It's a little bit different for everybody, but tell folks how you got involved and how did your interest peak in motorsports?
My interest peaked from my father, as a lot of young racers do. My dad raced dirt bikes, Grand Prix bikes, and he also raced jet boats as well. So as a young kid, I grew up watching my dad race and grew a passion for all things loud and fast pretty quick. Started in karts, and quickly a hobby grew into a hopeful career.
Like it a lot. Parker Thompson for Pro Mazda joins us here in the booth. Dave.
Wait, so I'm sorry. So how much was that part?
Yeah.
Oh, 25 cents.
25 cents.
Yes.
It's shades of Parnelli Jones in 1967 in the Turbine a little bit.
That's right.
I know that's before your time, Parker.
No, but you know what? I love history too.
We just saw Dalton Kellett cut a little grass as he went off on the racetrack as his rough day continues, and running back in the 7th position. But up front, though, things starting to pick up. Colton Herta made a move on Pato O'Ward, and as those two battle, Mark Janes, I imagine that's probably putting a pretty good smile on Santi Urrutia's face.
Yeah, leader's starting to pull away a little bit, no question. The gap a bit wider for Pato O'Ward after Herta made that move. He lost a little of that old mo, but he's trying to get it back now. Closes to within 3 car lengths in turn number 7. So maybe Herta will make another run if he can get there by making up some time in the south end as they head toward turn 10.
And Herta tries to close in on Ward to make that turn number 11. Now they work their way onto the oval here. That quickly leads to that right-handed turn number 12. Urrutia does it with, again, a somewhat comfortable advantage over O'Ward. I say that because O'Ward's got his hands full, mirrors full of Colton Herta, as Mark had described. Let's say it's 5 car lengths first to second, 2 from second to third.
Yep, that 98 car looks like it might be the fastest one on the racetrack. He went to victory lane yesterday. Colton Herta needs to pass 2 more cars, Michael Young, with 15 to go.
Boy, he was a lot closer last time by. I think he was just letting Pato O'Ward know that he's coming. About 2 car lengths gap, he and Pato O'Ward, and Pato O'Ward is really starting to lose touch with Santi Urrutia. I thought he was going to be able to maybe close in, and that has all but gone away now that he's had this tussle with Colton Herta, as the gap now actually extends about 5 car lengths. Nice turn 6 for Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, off of 5 in the preparation for 6. Urrutia is able to pull away a little bit from that twosome. They're hoping to gain some momentum here down the back straightaway. 1 and 7 is where Herta is able to close a little bit of a gap, but for whatever the reason, off the corners, O'Ward is able to get away a little quicker than Colton Herta. Best battle, that battle for second, Jake, in front of you.
Between 10 and 11, it literally looks like Herta's car comes in and magnetizes to O'Ward and is going to be able to make that side-by-side for second place. But then when they get in there through 11 and in through 12, O'Ward gets that distance right back. Now in 12 and 13, once again, Herta's able to close it in, but then they get on the straight, O'Ward gets that breathing room again.
Parker Thompson, Colton Herta went to victory lane yesterday. He knows he has a fast race car. How patient does he have to be as we see him close up on Pato O'Ward?
He's got to be patient, but he's got to manage his tires. You know, he's in the aero wash now. Turn 4 is a tire killer if you're behind someone. And you see they're both locking up, and look at that, Colton Herta takes it.
Yeah, Pato O'Ward locks up the left front, Michael Young, and Colton Herta looks like he scoots by.
It was all about the pressure. Colton Herta was applying the pressure, got in those mirrors, and Pato waited way too late to brake, locked him up, was able to keep control of the car, but Colton Herta made that pass for second, now is on the charge for Urrutia.
How fast is he? We're about to find out. Now that he's cleared that battle with Pato O'Ward, does that mean he has enough for Urrutia? Again, a big beneficiary, your leader, of that dust up in turn number 1 that Colton Herta survived. Herta tried to stay in the tire tracks. It's about 7 car lengths now off of turn number 9.
How much grip is that car going to have towards the end of this race? And would it be more than Santi Urrutia himself has preserved? Urrutia now works his way with the lead into turn number 12. He does so with a pretty decent gap back to Colton Herta. But Nick Yeoman, as you talked about, Colton Herta seemingly is coming here, and Santi Urrutia is well aware as he works his way through 14.
And Dave, first, of course, the bloodline really strong for the second generation driver, Colton Herta. He's gone to victory lane already a couple times in Indy Lights in his career, and he's got some interested eyes. Not only his father, but a couple good car owners as well.
Just keeping an eye. Maybe Parker can chime in on this. That pass that Colton made on Pato, what are the odds Pato was looking in his rearview mirrors and realized, wait a minute, I missed a breaking point?
100%. You nailed it on the head. And unfortunately, you know, you don't see Pato make many mistakes like that, but that's all that is. I think really all Colton was trying to do is get a little air on his front wing and shadow the mirrors of Pato, and it worked out great. And honestly, if Herta wanted a chance at winning this race, he needed to get around Pato quick, and he made quick work of it.
These are the top 3 of the championship as well. Pato O'Ward who sits in third, came in as the points leader. Santi Urrutia, your leader, entered today second in points. Colton Herta, who might be the fastest car on the racetrack day first, he enters this weekend third. Those are the three drivers that have kind of separated themselves so far in the first 5, make it 6 races now, as the 3 that we're going to be watching for this championship all season long.
Don't be surprised if the last 2 races of the season at Portland, we're going to be talking about those 3 battling for the championship. But consistently in today's race, Colton Herta has been 2/10, 3/10 quicker than the rest of the field. He's at 1.3 behind Santi Urrutia, trying to reel him in here in the last 13 laps.
Just saw a slide off for Ryan Norman, who's in the 6th position. The good news for Norman is Dalton Kellett is not close enough to challenge. And we just saw Colton Herta turn the fastest lap of this race. And Parker, that comes on lap 23, if that says anything about the pace of that race car.
Well, it's a shadow of yesterday. You look at Colton now, as the tires wear, he just seems to manage that tire ding so well compared to the competitors. It's going to be really interesting. If I was Santi, I'd be scared of that blue car coming up in Monmears.
And yesterday, those two put on a tremendous battle as Santi Urrutia made that car about as wide as you could possibly make it, moving left and right and defending quite a bit. Ultimately, it wasn't enough to hold off Colton Herta, and boy, it looks like we've got another showdown here on the 14-turn road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And the good news, Dave, first is Colton Herta's got plenty of time. We've still got 12 laps, and this is a big racetrack with lots of good passing spots.
Big racetrack, a lot of time, and again, if he's making up 2/10 every lap, yeah, he's 1.1 behind right now. I mean, it's only going to be a matter of time before we see another battle between that 98 and Santi Urrutia.
Through turn number 14 and back onto the front straightaway here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pretty impressed. Those grandstands starting to fill in, Michael Young, as folks are getting ready for the IndyCar Grand Prix, but they're going to be treated to one heck of a battle here with 11 to go.
Well, I agree. Before this is over, I believe Colton Herta will have a little something to say about who goes to the top of the victory podium today, but the fans are really streaming in this J&H stand down here in turn number 1, oval turn number 4, as the field starts to make their way through turns 4, 5, and 6. But it's great, Mark James. You look around this place and there are people everywhere this afternoon.
Yeah, certainly they figured out over the past couple of years that turn number 7 viewing mound that snakes through 8 toward 9 is a pretty good place to set up shop. A lot of folks starting to fill in that side. There's a little grandstand just to the outside of turn number 7. That is filling up as well. Of course, Sarah Fisher's indoor karting setting up in the fan zone here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A lot of folks enjoying that today. So a great crowd taking advantage of pretty good weather conditions, Jake Query.
And what they're seeing right now is Colton Herta trying to reel in on the leader, but again, not being able to do so. We're talking about Santi Urrutia with the lead. Pata O'Ward enjoyed it for part of this day, but Herta got around him, and now O'Ward is having a difficult time, Nick Yeoman, keeping those front 2 in sight.
Colton Herta trying to sweep the weekend here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Royal Purple Synthetic Oil Grand Prix of Indianapolis, supporting Lupus Foundation of America. Really cool to see one of the world's leading lubricant companies, Royal Purple Synthetic Oil, jump on board. They're helping to pump the purple during May's Lupus Awareness Month to spread word on this mysterious disease and raise funds for lupus research and education. Lupus diagnosis is difficult. There is no cure. All cars this weekend, the Mazda Road to Indy, displayed a special decal in support of the Lupus Foundation of America, and the hashtag Race to End Lupus was utilized throughout the event. Fans and drivers and teams can show their support by donating via a special webpage at lupus.org/racing. So it's been a really cool initiative this weekend, and awesome to see Royal Purple jump on board. A couple things we also want to remind you of today for our Sirius XM listeners. Next Saturday's Indianapolis 500 qualifying broadcast will be moved from Sirius 214 to Sirius 217. XM 209 remains unchanged. So again, for all of our Sirius XM listeners, if you want to hear qualifying for the 102nd Indianapolis 500 on Saturday, May 19th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., make sure you tune in to Sirius 217 and XM 209. At the start-finish line, 9 to go. The gap is 0.6 of a second. Michael Young, the battle for the lead.
Boy, he's really made up a lot of ground, does Colton Herta this time. Really gets on that rear wing of Santi Urrutia, just like yesterday, slowly creeping up to the rear wing of Santi Urrutia. It looks like Colton Herta really has the car, but here's the key. Out of turns 5 and 6, Santi just gets about a 2-car length gap. Not so much, though, this time, Mark James.
His best positioning on the racetrack in terms of what his car agrees with. Clearly turn number 1. That's where he's been able to close the gap, I think, most decidedly the last few times. Not so much in turn number 7. Santi a little quicker through this portion of the race course. About a 2-car length advantage as they exit turn 9.
Well, the real question here, and Parker might be able to field this one better than I, and that is, rhetorically speaking, I'm watching thinking, if Colton Herta knows he's going to have a chance to pounce, does he do it now, or does he lay in wait in these closing stages and make the move late before Urrutia would have time to make it up? Urrutia right now a 3-car length advantage over Colton Herta.
I think that's a great question, but I'm gonna comment and say that if he waits any longer, that aero wash is really gonna hurt his tires. He needs to get the job done quick, and it looks like he's got to run right now.
Here he comes, Michael Young, down to turn number 1.
They're both outside of the wall, and they take a look to the inside. This time, Santi Urrutia locks him up into turn number 1. Colton really didn't have an opportunity to pass him as they ran down that front straightaway. Both of them went into the same spot in turn number 1, but you can tell he is starting to put that pressure on Santi Urrutia. But just like that, Santi Urrutia back to an 8-car length advantage.
Saw the brake smoke off the car of the leader, but that did not kill his momentum at all. He was able to get back into the throttle because Herta's car bobbled a bit in front of Michael Young. Herta brakes a little bit later, allows him to close the gap some, but Jake, to be honest with you, despite the brake smoke that we saw in turn number 1, Urrutia's opened up that gap by about a car length and a half.
Velarde Racing or Steinbrenner or Andretti Steinbrenner Racing? Which one delivered the better race car today? For a minute there, it looked like Colton Herta might have the better one, but Santi Urrutia was able to take advantage as they worked their way, as you talked about, in through the S's mark. Now, all of a sudden, Santi Urrutia pulls Herta around as they work their way through turn number 13. He still has a pretty comfortable advantage out of 14.
It's all about pressure with 7 laps to go. Some folks apply it, some folks feel it. Santi Urrutia's got to be feeling it, Michael Young, as Colton Herta tries to pressure him into a mistake.
About 2 car lengths, the gap between Urrutia and Herta that time. Herta really had a good run on him last time, but not so much this time. I think he'll kind of lay in wait maybe this lap. Size Urrutia up again, get those Cooper tires back underneath him. But Colton Herta certainly has a fast car, but this time coming through turn number 6, that gap is down to 3 car lengths.
Really good run up of turn number 5. Don't know if it's enough to make the move into turn number 7. Urrutia moves up, Herta stays right there. He's in the tire tracks. Both climb on the binders. The car glides to the left. They'll attack the curbing as they swing it back right. Herta right there in the tire tracks, about a car length and a half. Now they put the left sides on the curbing. Now back to the right as they swing through that SE portion of the racetrack. Meanwhile, O'Ward off the grass. He's able to get right back on.
Herta all of a sudden now is going anywhere Urrutia is, and Colton Herta is seemingly trying to look at every angle. He is right on the rear wing of that number 5 machine. I'm not certain it might not happen in front of Michael Young, because Colton Herta seems to be able to really close that gap as they exit that straightaway that they're entering right now, Nick.
Boy, for that incident involving our points leader, Pato O'Ward, he fell from 3rd to 5th, and he's still having problems. Up front, though, the battle for the lead is on. Santi Urrutia, Colton Herta to turn 1.
6 laps to go, and Santi Urrutia takes him to the middle of the track. Herta goes to the outside. Urrutia breaks late. He'll take Herta with him into the grass. They both go off track. Now they're both back on, but that cost Colton Herta a ton of ground. Santi Urrutia with a 5-car length advantage as the two nearly collide in turn number 1. They're still clean with 6 laps to go.
And Urrutia, I think, had tucked to the memory bank the fact that Colton Herta goes to the inside and he starts to make the move a little earlier than most drivers typically make it into turn number 1. Urrutia stole that portion of the racetrack on approach and prevented Herta from making that move. Both climbed on the binders. Urrutia clearly has the advantage off of turn number 9.
And I'll tell you what, Aaron Tielitz, who now has put himself into 3rd, has to really be kicking himself, because he could have been in prime position to take advantage while those two tussled in front of him. Urrutia again gets himself a little bit of room over Colton Herta. Urrutia now takes that left-hander. He goes in through 13 and 14. You've got about 25 car lengths between the duos of 1st and 2nd, and then the duo of 3rd and 4th.
Santi Urrutia is going to have to hold on for another 6 laps, as Colton Herta is going to have to rebuild the momentum. Meanwhile, though, Ryan Marine, disaster striking for our points leader, Pato O'Ward.
So tell you what, Nick, what a difficult weekend it's turned out to be in terms of racing, at least for Pato O'Ward. A couple of poles, but it looks like no results to show for it. He came into the pits with a left front tire that appeared to be down on air. The team took that tire off, put a new Cooper on, and sent him back out. But in terms of any kind of hope for a successful finish today, the day is effectively done in that capacity for Pato O'Ward. Back out on track, but well down the order.
That's certainly a tough break for our points leader, as he is now falling a lap behind as Santi Urrutia and Colton Herta swing by. And Dave, first, that's going to be a big hit in the championship.
Big time hit. If he finishes 7th right now, as we head to the next race, he's going to be down 5 points to Santi Urrutia. So a very costly weekend points-wise for Pato O'Ward.
Meanwhile, Parker Thompson, how about this battle for the lead? I mean, those two nearly took each other out down in turn 1 a couple laps ago.
And I feel for Colton. He tried the outside move. He looked like he had something to maybe make it stick, and they both overshot. You know, it's tough. Braking down there, you just never know, and especially with tire deg as the race wears on. You know, you maybe start at the 300 board, move it back to the 400, but they were both well in deep there. Let's see if Colton can mount another comeback.
And for those two not to take each other out when they both go a little too hard in the corner, that's something that you just don't see very often. It shows that those drivers are taking care of each other, but we're watching. Colton Herta is right there.
He really is. He looks like he's managing his tires better towards the end of the race, but Santi is a guy that you can just never count him out, no matter where he qualifies, no matter where he's at in the championship. Him and his engineer, Tim Neff, down at Bilardi do a fantastic job together. They've been working together the last few years. They know each other really well. And, you know, he's on the cards. He's blocking. Whoa!
Oh, look at this, Mark James, as they head to turn 7.
Back race into turn number 7. Herta tries to go to the outside, and Santi brushes up just a little bit. Side by side in the exit at turn number 7. Herta all over the curbing, both to the right and the left. They go side by side, make contact off a 9.
Urrutia got a little bit loose as they work their way now. He's going to squeeze Herta down to the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 12. Colton Herta now has to tuck back in behind Santi Urrutia. What a move from that number 5 machine. Got a little bit squirrely, forced Herta to do the exact same. Now Colton Herta in through 13 and 14, trying to reel back in and get another shot at Santi Urrutia.
These two drivers are putting those cars side by side in parts of this racetrack we haven't seen all weekend long. Across the yard of bricks, 3 to go. Colton Herta, Santi Urrutia side by side into turn 1.
Herta's on the outside, Urrutia's to the inside. Herta will outbreak him into turn 1. Urrutia takes him all the way to the curbing, but Herta has a name touch. Urrutia goes around as Colton Herta moves through that exit of turn number 2. What a loss for Santi Urrutia as they both battled side by side through the exit of turn number 1 and 2. As they touch, Urrutia goes around. Colton Herta takes the lead.
And Parker Thompson, it was really only a matter of time. I mean, those two battling so incredibly hard. 3 laps to go. It was go time for Colton Herta. Santi wasn't really doing him any favors. I mean, those drivers both making those cars awful wide.
Yes, and no, Santi was not doing him any favors, especially as they went through turn 11 there. Santi did squeeze Colton quite a bit. We'll see if we can get a replay a little bit later. But then turn 1, oh, that was tight, as we're seeing a replay right now. You know, racing incident, they were both going for the same line, and unfortunately, one of them it didn't work out for.
Yeah, you're getting a good look at the replay here as they exited turn 1. Santi kept that car right to the curbing, and there wasn't a whole lot of track for Colton to go.
No, there wasn't. And, you know, they were both side by side. Sometimes as racers, we forget that. And you're racing for a win with 5 laps to go. You've got a driver that's a hurt duck a bit. He's managing his tires, trying to get home, and you've got a driver charging through. Colton hasn't had the best start to the season. He's been quick, but he is behind in points. So he's really using this weekend to his advantage to get the championship back.
After the spin, Santi Urrutia not only lost the lead, but he fell out of podium contention as Aaron Telitz has been the big winner. He moves up to the 2nd spot. Victor Franzoni is the 3rd, and Santi Urrutia back to 4th. Dave first, boy, 2 days in a row, and we've had incredible Indy Lights races.
An incredible race, and I'll tell you what, Pato O'Ward's not looking so bad now because of Urrutia losing a couple positions. All of a sudden now he's back in the points lead if things end the way they do. It's a 1-point advantage over now Colton Herta, who would be 2nd in the overall points championship.
This is a long championship, but boy, this championship battle has been so incredible.
So
6 races. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. After this race, they'll head to the oval here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the biggest race of the year, the Freedom 100, where all of these drivers want to score a victory here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Meanwhile, up front, Colton Herta navigates turn 12, the left-hander, and then the kink through 13 and 14, excuse me. Back out of the front straightaway, Michael Young. Colton Herta is going to see the white flag. 1 to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Well, say what you will, Nick Yeoman. 7 cars in this Indy Lights field, but they have put on a heck of a show for the race fans this weekend. Colton Herta, second verse, same as the first. Fell back sixth place yesterday, 4th today, and is able to hustle his way back up to the front and to take the lead. A great run for him, and a brilliant job getting around Santi Urrutia in turn number 2. He makes it through turns 5 and 6 for the final time.
He's passed a few cars in doing so. That's Pato O'Ward running just behind him. Aaron Thielen's trying to go back-to-back podiums, and he raced a painful start to this season going back to St. Petersburg. However, Victor Franzoni, he wouldn't mind having that second spot on the podium, but Jake, to be honest with you, I don't know that second place is a foregone conclusion as they exit turn number 9.
Yeah, Pato O'Ward holds it for now. What a day he has had, right? Colton Herta is up front as he works his way now for the final time through 12, 13, and 14. Nick Yeoman, race control, was keeping an eye on that battle for the lead. They issued a warning, but in the end it took care of itself, and Colton Herta was the one that survived through it. He comes now into turn number 14.
They let him race, and oh, what a race it was. Out of turn 14, out of the front straightaway, weaving back and forth. Colton Herta sweeps the weekend as he will win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, picking up a pair of wins in the Royal Purple Synthetic Oil Grand Prix of Indianapolis, supporting the Lupus Foundation of America. Aaron Thielen's, he comes home in second, holding off Victor Franzoni. That was a really good battle for the second, third steps of the podium. So it's Herta, Thielen's, and Franzoni, the top 3. Santi Urrutia comes home 4th. Ryan Norman finishes 5th. Dalton Kellett 6th. Pato O'Ward, a very disappointing 7th place. Parker Thompson, that was one whale of a race. Your first time up here in the Indy Lights booth, we may have to have you up more often if they're all going to be like that.
Well, thank you very much, first and foremost, for having me up here, Nick. And what a fantastic race. A great drive by Colton Herta, and great battles the whole time. I mean, we talked about the racing action the entire time I was up here. So what an awesome race they put on. And
Dave, first we see Colton Herta on the back straightaway. He's going to do a little donut action.
He's doing some donuts in the backstretch down Hellman Boulevard. If everyone behind him can just stay out of the way, that'd be nice. But Colton Herta came into this with 2 career wins. Now he's got 4, and he is a big-time player now as we move throughout the course of the season coming up. Road America in a couple weeks, of course, the Freedom 100 in a couple weeks as well. But big-time player in this overall championship. Could be a big year for Colton Herta.
Back-to-back wins here at Indianapolis for Colton Herta. This one much different, though, than the first one. Talk to me about the contact with Urrutia.
Yeah, it's always tough to judge it when I haven't seen a replay, but from my perspective, I was on the outside, and on the exit of the corner, I was still ahead of him, and I just got pushed off. And then skirting through the grass, just had no grip, couldn't stop the car, and he didn't leave me any room. I was on the brake, and I was locked up coming back onto the track, but I didn't have any room, and yeah, we made contact. Not the way you want to win a race, but I think even without that contact, I had a really strong race car, and I think I could have gotten by him.
You certainly showed speed. Now, on a wider scope of things, Colton, watching you and Santi battle in those last couple laps, it looked a lot like what we're going to see here in the Freedom 100, or at least what we've seen in the past. Do you think the racing on the Grand Prix circuit here at IMS this weekend has anything to say about what we're going to see in 2 weeks when you guys are back here for the Freedom 100?
Yeah, the racing's amazing, but nothing compares to racing on the oval here. And the racing, especially in the lights cars, is amazing. You've seen the finishes, and you can expect that.
All right, Colton Herta, your winner back-to-back here in Indianapolis. Colton, thanks for the time. We will see you in a few weeks.